Shannon, I'm going to let you enjoy this while you can because, yes, Alabama looked special last night. Bama rolled to another national championship with a 52-24 victory over Ohio State last night. Heisman Trophy winner Devontae Smith took home the offensive MVP after finishing with 12 catches for 215 yards and 3 touchdowns. And that was all in the first half, guys. Najee Harris finished with 3 total touchdowns himself and tied quarterback Mac Jones, who threw 5 touchdowns on the night, put it bluntly after the game, saying, "I think we're the best team to ever play." So, Shannon, how surprised were you by this outcome?
I'm not surprised by the outcome, Skip, because I thought Alabama would win. I'm surprised by how easy they made it look and the margin of the outcome. Skip, it's not like they beat Arkansas or Missouri, who doesn't have the level of 5-star recruits that Alabama has. Ohio State can go toe-to-toe every single year as far as 4- and 5-star recruits. This is why every single year they're really the only Big Ten representative. When you say, okay, you look at Clemson, you look at Alabama, and then who you go to? Automatically you go to Ohio State, because those are the 3 teams that year in and year out gets the most top 300 high school players. And so I was like, okay, the game's going to be close. I'm saying, especially watching Ohio State last week, what they did to Clemson. They dismantled Clemson. And although Clemson is not what it was a couple of years ago and last year, but Skip, they're a good football team. They got the #1 pick in the draft. They got talented 4- and 5-star players on the offensive and defensive line. And Ohio State took them apart. So I'm saying to myself, okay, the game is going to be close. I expect Alabama to win. But, Skip, this wasn't close. The only thing that prevented Alabama from probably scoring 70 is that Mac Jones fumbled early, and it gave Ohio State an opportunity to tie the ball game 14-14, and Devontae going out first play of the third quarter. Other than that, Skip, they were about to hang 70 and probably put over 700 yards on Ohio State. I've never seen anything like it. And, Skip, I'm saying to myself, they got to be due for a bag. Skip, you can't play like this every single game, can you? Can you get 45, 50 points every game, 500, 600 yards every game? Nobody has an answer for Devontae Smith. Well, they're going to double him. Well, Wade said, I want him. That's what Skip, you see? When you ask for problems, when you send for somebody that didn't send for you, this is what happens. Skip, this is unbelievable. I mean, the way Mac Jones was throwing the football, Skip, and if you look at him, he's pinpoint accurate. He's the most athletic guy. Skip, when you look at him, you're like, he ain't about to win, he ain't about to do anything but play football. But, Skip, the throws that he was making, he's throwing the ball and Devontae never breaks stride. He's throwing the ball and Najee never breaks stride. The guys never break stride. It's not a 15-yard catch and the guy gets tackled. He's throwing the ball and the guy can continue to run. Yes, Skip, am I surprised that they won? No, I'm surprised in how easy they made it look in taking the Ohio State apart. 28 points. And just when I thought last year, Skip, we watched LSU and we came out here and talked about, Skip, that might have been the best offensive team we've ever seen. They one-upped them. They swept every offensive award except the Mackey Award. If they had a receiver, he got the Biletnikoff. The running back got the Doak Walker. The quarterback got the Unitas. They got the Remington for the center. They got the Outland for the left tackle. Skip, and I was like, they do for a bad. And if they have a bad game, Ohio State can get them. One team came within 14 points all year. That was Florida. And they hung, 600 plus yards on, maybe 700 on them. Skip, this was unbelievable. Broke the SEC scoring mark, 48 points a game. What do you say? The only thing I'm disappointed in, and I know he's going to be okay because it's plenty of time, Skip, Devontae Smith might going to have 350 yards, maybe close to 20 catches. Skip, I've never seen anything like this. And he does it so effortless, Skip, when you look at it, you're like, he ain't moving that fast. But all you do is see more and more separation between him and the defender. Sark called an unbelievable game.
Steve Sarkisian,
the offensive coordinator. Skip, a lot of times what we see when guys go get jobs, now they're focused on their new job. They got to get their staffs together. They got to get their recruiting. And I don't know if they put the time that they need to make sure everything goes well before they leave. This might have been the best game I've seen him. And he's called some good ones over the last couple of years, Skip. But this might have been the best game he's ever called. And Mac Jones and everybody was outstanding. And Coach Saban said he might be most proud of this team, considering you got to test every day. They didn't know if they were going to play, and then might miss a game here or there. But to play 13 SEC games, no out of schedule, no FCS, no bull jive, Skip. Alabama did it. I am surprised by how easy they made this look.
Because you wouldn't even give me 7.5 points yesterday.
I would not. Skip.
Would you do it now? Yeah.
I give you 22 and a half.
You give me more than that. Because, as you say, if Devontae had been able to finish the game, it would have gotten really ugly. Because Mac Jones was still in there throwing to the bitter end. So I don't know. He might have gone for 100. I don't know. They might have tried to hang 100 on him.
And Mac Jones might have threw for 600.
Yeah.
Or definitely been in the fives.
Okay. Now, before I launch into all of the above, allow me to say that I did think this would be a fairly close game. At least I thought it would be competitive.
Right.
Because I thought Ohio State could shorten the game, as Coach Parcells once said once upon a time about a Super Bowl game against Jim Kelly and the, what did they call them? The K-gun. Yeah, K-guns. It was another spread offense.
Right.
Throw it all over the field. Okay, we will shorten the field. And it came down to a field goal in that, which was wide, as I recall, right. I believe.
Correct. Scott Norwood.
And Scott Norwood. And so the Giants pulled off a quote-unquote upset that time because they controlled the clock and controlled the football and kept the K-gun, Jim Kelly's offense, mostly off the field.
40 minutes to 20 minutes, time of possession.
40 to 20. Okay, so I thought with my former Oklahoma Sooner, Trey Sermon, who didn't make it at Oklahoma. He got beaten out at Oklahoma and said, well, I'm going to transfer to the Ohio State. And he sort of rose up the depth chart from nowhere, and all of a sudden at the end of the year, he emerged.
Skip, let me ask you a question this, Skip. How do you get beaten out at Oklahoma and says, you know what, I'm going to pick up and I'm going to go to Ohio State with they loaded?
They are loaded, and Master Teague looked like he was the guy until all of a sudden Trey Sermon was the guy.
Yes.
And Trey Sermon, obviously, against Northwestern in the Big Ten championship game, had 331. And then he came right back against Clemson with 193.
Right.
And he started making Justin Fields' job a whole lot easier because he could do this and pull it back and throw it.
Correct.
And I thought, well, maybe they can pound away with Trey Sermon and he can take advantage of what I considered an average Alabama defense that gave up 46 points to Florida in the SEC championship game, right? It was 52 to 46. Well, I expected that sort of a game, except with a little lower score.
Correct.
Because I thought Trey Sermon would pound away. So what happened on literally the first play of the game? It's the first play of the game, if we could please see this play, because it looked pretty routine to me. This didn't look like anything special. I don't know. I don't really see it. I don't.
But when you see this angle, Skip, and you see how that's how I broke my collarbone in that very same play.
Did you? Well, it looks like he broke his. I don't know.
When you get he got pinned, Skip.
But it's on the fall. It wasn't on the initial collision.
You fall, and then the 300-pounder fall. Look at this, Skip. Right on top. Boom.
Ooh. Ooh. And he's gone.
He's gone.
And I'm like, what?
Literally the first play.
He's gone. And all of a sudden, you're back to Master Teague, who's not quite the bulldozer that Trey Sermon can be. Trey Sermon has a little bit of Derrick Henry. He's not Derrick Henry, but he can do that sort of damage. But it requires 30 carries over the course of a game to control the clock and pound you down.
Ohio State needed to win a game, Skip, something like 31-28, 28-24.
Right.
Once the game started getting into the mid-30s, the 40s, that wasn't a game they could win.
So guess what the final time of possession was last night? Would you believe that Alabama had the ball for 37 minutes to Ohio State's 23 minutes? What do you think's going to happen? That's going to happen. Okay, it flipped on its head. It went exactly the wrong way. And believe it or not, Alabama's offense converted on 3rd and 4th down 8 of 13. Well, you're in trouble. Yeah, they're just going to keep the ball and keep the ball and play keep away. And then guess what they were in the red zone last night? How about 6 for 6? You're going to get wiped out. Yes. And they did. Now back to Devontae Smith. I've said this before to you on this show. I have never seen anything like him in college football. So think about what just happened. Ohio State has a lot of athletes. They had COVID problems, and I don't know their depth chart well enough to know exactly how many had to miss the game. I know 2 defensive linemen had to miss the game, 2 starters in the defensive line. I'm not sure about the rest, but I also do know that they have a very good coaching staff that knows how to play defense. They have a pretty good concept. Even though Trevor Lawrence wound up throwing for 400, they gave him some problems because they put some heat on him.
Yes.
Okay? So they had 10 days. They didn't have the old month to get ready, but they had 10 days to try to figure out.
I see the skies